Ragtime on Broadway, starring you four. I love this. This is a super exciting production. Just start with the emotions. I mean, you are literally about to open, I think, one of the greatest musicals ever written in one of the most beautiful Broadway theaters ever built. I mean, just how are we feeling? How's day to day right now?
It's surreal, overwhelming.
It's all of it.
Exciting.
It's literally everything.
Grateful.
Throw out an emotion and it'll be like, yeah.
And we like trade off, you know? We check in with each other each day and we're like, how you doing? How you doing? And it's beautiful.
Yeah. But we keep reminding each other how lucky we are.
Keep each other in check.
Yeah, but like we just are, I mean, it's not lost on any of us how lucky we are. It also is like, at the same time, like very devastating in some ways that this feels so relevant right now. So we're holding that as well. So it's all of it.
Also just getting to watch and rehearsal the brilliance that's in this cast that's overwhelming. And anytime I walk past y'all, I'm like, how dare you? Yeah. I love you. You just want to say everything in like 3 seconds, but then you got an entrance. But yeah, it's pretty incredible.
I mean, I feel like if I were rehearsing Ragtime, I would be on the subway looking at strangers thinking like, you have no idea what I get to do today. I get to go to watch Ragtime, right? And just live in this. Yes. It must feel special.
Yeah, living inside this music every day, hearing these melodies and these lyrics, and the way these stories intersect, and just that, you know, I think we all, to some degree, grew up with this show, so to now be part of its ongoing legacy is wild.
Do we remember the first time we heard the score? Like where you were?
Well, I was actually I want to save you for this story because I don't want to get too sad. Let's not get too sad right off the bat.
Well, I'm not sad anymore. We fixed it.
I would love to hear, when did this show come to your life?
University of Miami Music Library, 2003. I was just in a booth by myself and I was like listening to Ryan Stokes Mitchell, sing this music. And I was like, whose voice is this? And I needed to know all about him. And then the score just blew me away. Oh, I was just looking around like, does anybody? No? Okay.
Again, you have no idea what I'm experiencing in these headphones. How about you, Nichelle?
Well, my first time listening to anything from this musical, I was actually in school, Malloy College, and I was in my class, and I remember somebody was like, you should sing Your Daddy's Son the next time we do vocal tech. And I was like, what's that? And I went and I listened to it and I was like, what is this masterpiece and who is this singing? And you know, you find out it's like the most legendary, amazing, iconic Black woman, actress, singer, everything of all time. And you're like, period, I'll try to sing after her, but it was so magical and cool, and like just listening to her tell the story just in my ears was like an experience in itself. So then when I got to go watch and find the YouTube, I watched it and I was just like, this is beautiful. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, Caissie, this is another Marin Mazzie moment for you. I mean, you just did Next to Normal, which is one of the roles Marin did. And I know Peter Friedman's a very talented actor, but in terms of the original cast, you three are playing roles, like you've already sort of acknowledged this, created by these musical theater greats that you grew up idolizing, right? What is it like? And that's one of the things I love about Broadway, the legacy of these roles and this material.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a huge honor to try to follow in Marin's footsteps, someone who was so loved and lost too soon and who I certainly looked up to so much. I saw her in the original production in Toronto, where I grew up, when I was in high school. So I saw her, I saw Stokes, I saw Audra, and I was completely blown away. I was like, what's happening here? And I remember I stayed after and I talked to Audra.
Oh, wow.
A really big deal.
What was that moment like?
She was amazing. She blew my mind. And I just remember feeling like that was one of the shows and one of the experiences I had in the theater that made me want a life in the theater. It was like Les Mis when I was 8 and Ragtime in high school. And it's like a lot of parts that have come my way, it's something I didn't have on my radar as something that would be for me. So then to be like welcomed into the Ragtime family and to get to do it with these 3 humans and the rest of our cast is like, it's just so special.
Now, speaking of, you said you saw the original Toronto cast. Did that mean you also saw Brandon Uranowitz?
Well, we were trying to figure this out.
We think so.
you were a part
It's
of the
highly
original
possible.
company.
It's
My
blonde
future
boy.
bestie.
distinctly possible.
It is possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were a
Sweet.
little blonde boy, I hear.
I was a bleach blonde boy. Yeah. They were bleaching my hair and my eyebrows every 2 weeks to make me look like, a new Rochelle, like a waspy little boy.
You were one of Mother's children.
I was a little boy.
You were a little boy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Paul Dano first, if you know who that is. Paul Dano first, and then he left, and then I took over for the last 7 or 8 months of the run. And they took, I think, everyone to Broadway except for me. But here I am now.
Come on.
Yep.
Yes.
Here I am now.
We love
So,
it.
I do feel like there's something very cosmic about this moment for me specifically. I've harbored a lot of trauma. Feels like a strong word, but it was tough for an 11-year-old kid to be this close to that dreamy thing. I grew up in New Jersey, right outside of the city, so Broadway was always something that I aspired to since I was 4 years old. And so to have it that close and then sort of taken away from me felt really crazy. And I still have to cope with those feelings of inadequacy in this business. So I'm feeling very grateful and lucky to be here to reclaim reclaiming my time with Ragtime.
It feels like Tateh is the role Brandon was born to play.
Yeah, you're eating.
It has
You're eating.
It has come back to you at this time that we need to see you in this part.
Yeah, no, it feels oh, okay, it didn't happen there because that wasn't right. This is how it was meant to happen. So
Also, did you get to talk to Stephen and Lynn about this? Have you sat down
Oh
and
yeah. Because I don't think when I talked to Lynn about it, she's like, I don't remember that. So I'm just of course it had nothing to do with you. It was all, there are a lot of factors that play into this business and the destiny of certain things and whatever. And it was out of their control and out of my control, but
They're very lovely people.
they're the loveliest people. Oh my God.
You should see them. They came to a run-through in rehearsal. And let's say, Lynn had her phone out. She was taking selfies she was at a sequarium. She was like, It was incredible.
That's actually the thing. They make us all feel so special and so wanted and like they're kids, this show is their baby, and they have been nothing short of remarkably welcoming to all of us. The new people, the people that have been with it longer, it's kind of shocking. Every time they come in with such warmth and ease and they're like, oh yeah, we love what you're doing. It just kind of, it hits us.
Yeah, in that, what you were talking about before, just the legacies of these roles, there has not been any pressure from them specifically to recreate or try and shoehorn ourselves into other people's expectations or other people's experiences of the show. They have been so generous in allowing us the space to make it ours. And I actually think that's what makes our production soar in the way that it does, is that we have been given the space to bring ourselves to these parts. And there's just an authenticity to it. And just wait. Just
This
wait
pairing
until
right
you
here.
see
Yeah. Wheels of a Dream.
all
Bananas.
these
Oh, Wheels of a Dream, forget it. That's the thing I can't watch in the rehearsal room because I just cry. I cry at all the hope in this show way harder than I cry at all the sad.
Yeah.
And these two, the magic between them, it's beautiful to watch.
There are some numbers you, as an actor in the show, that you can't watch because you have to get through your show.
Yeah.
My children is one of those, I have to say, our children. Can't do it. I'm like, I can't. I'm a professional. I have to keep it together, and I can if I watch this.
Almost every number in the show. I think all of us, every single person in the room is just bawling the whole time we watch it because
Well, I can sit in the audience and actually bawl the entire time and not have to, be in front of people. And I will be doing that, you can guaranteed. When I interview actors who are in revivals, it's very common for actors to say, well, this show is more relevant than ever. It's kind of a classic line that actors say about revivals, right? But wow, you're doing Ragtime in 2025. I don't know if anyone has ever been able to own that statement more. This is a musical about the American dream. It's a musical about different groups, right? Your characters represent hardworking Black Americans. You're sort of the sheltered elite, right? And you're the hopeful immigrant who comes to America. And in the musical, we get to see them all come together and we get to see them interact at a time when I don't know that everyone feels like that's happening on the streets of America, correct? It's just we all sort of feel this way. So what is it like to be digging into this material today?
Sometimes we talk about like how useful we feel as artists at this time. Sometimes you want to go protest, sometimes you want to go, just yell in the middle of the street. We get to be in Lincoln Center, and our act of service is showing America what America is, in its, glory and in its lessons that it has to learn. And to be able to do that, that is like just the crossroads of art and service and purpose, and that feels so special. And I feel like I go to sleep after rehearsal for 3 hours, just feeling like, no, I've done my part. So I'm grateful to be able to just have a little slice of what this is and offer it up to audiences as, no, this is us. Like, let's really consider this.
Everything Joshua just said, yes, like I feel like that's like kind of the conversations that we tend to have, even during rehearsal, like when we're all in the lounge or something, we'll talk about the fact that it feels like we're doing like an act of service for other people. And this is like what we signed up for theater to do, is to inspire people, to give people that hope, to tell these stories, and to just keep shouting the importance of these stories as well. So I feel like it just feels so much bigger than ourselves. And even from the first day, when we were all just standing in that circle, I think we all could just like look at one another and see that in each other's face. It just feels bigger than ourselves.
Yeah, it's such an ensemble piece, and so the joy of that is that we get to kind of share and then fade back and watch the next actor and the next storyline come into focus. And I feel like that's what we need in our world right now is this active listening. And so to be able to do that on stage and to meet this material each day in a very different space based on what has happened in the world has been really interesting too. Like, some days I'm playing mother from a real mothering standpoint. I'm a mom to 2 young kids, and I'm bringing so much of that experience into this. Sometimes I'm really resonating with the immigrant story. I'm an immigrant. Sometimes I'm really resonating with the Jewish story. I'm a Jew. And sometimes I'm really resonating with the white privilege part of this story. And I do have that white privilege in the world. And so it's just like interesting to see where I'm at in the day and then what hits me in rehearsal. And I think that's going to continue in the run of the show, just like you always do in a long run or even a short run or even a limited run where, you get the repetition of doing the show, and it's the same, but it's different every day because you're different every day. And I think that's going to be really interesting to watch ourselves navigate and the audience navigate too.
What Joshua said really resonates with me just because I feel like this urgent sense of purpose, and that's so hard to feel connected to as an actor, specifically where we are in an inherently gate-kept industry where we don't really necessarily have a say in the things that we get to do and the art that we get to participate in and the things that we get to say as artists. And of course, there are avenues for us to do that. There's social media, there's protesting, and but what we really love to do and where we really thrive is in our art. And to be able to do something, a piece of art that speaks to the moment. I mean, there are things that like the layers of this show, I find something new, like Caissie was saying, every single day, every single time we run this show. It feels like it was written yesterday. And there's part of me that really mourns that in some ways, because I do feel like Ragtime is at its core like an American tragedy ultimately. With obviously there's hope in it and there's optimism, but it's a tragedy, and I mourn the fact that this show that takes place at the turn of the 20th century still holds weight in 2025. But my biggest hope, I think, with the show and doing it right now is that people don't walk away feeling like we answered all their questions, or that we solved everyone's problems, or that we held up a mirror and they saw themselves and they can just say, oh, wow, and leave. But they can leave asking themselves questions. Why is that? I'm really interested in the fact that Tateh has a very hopeful arc and journey in the story. He starts in a really painful place and ends up joyful and happy and thriving. And the question that I have is like, okay, well, why? Why is he allowed something like that and Coalhouse and Sarah are not? Questions like that I think are new for us as a country, I think, in some ways. Yeah, and I'm just like deeply interested in the curiosity that it sparks for people.
It never really occurred to me that, in this world, nobody knows what to do, right? Everyone feels sort of like lost, and how do I contribute? And you're able to contribute just with your incredible talents when you do something like this, because you really can just focus on telling the story and delivering that. It never really occurred to me. That's such a lovely gift. How does it feel to actually have these moments on stage, like Wheels of a Dream or Back to Before, these moments? What is it like to actually take in those moments as a performer?
It's crazy. You were talking specifically about the many things that you are, and like Wheels of a Dream, for example. Like, I remember when I had my first son, who's now 7, and I have 4-year-old twins, but like my oldest, thinking about the life that is possible for him and singing about that and spreading a message of there are people out there who buy into this dream that is just so beautiful and so uplifting and so hopeful. That's one of those moments. It's one of those moments it's hard to get through sometimes because it's so beautiful. It's almost too beautiful for words. And, but that's what we want the audience to feel. It's almost like blindness, not blindness to reality, but like that beauty is possible. Can we dare to dream about those things? There's so many moments in the show that demand that we see what's possible.
I mean, I will say about Back to Before, it's such a iconic song that has a lot of lore behind it, and it's so easy to kind of get caught up in that. But every time I sing it, I was having this conversation with Lear because I find something new each day in it, because it asks so many hard questions, and it's been really kind of like tough to get through the darkness of it in a way, because it costs something, and I think that's something all these characters deal with in the show. It's like they learn, they are changed by the people around them. There is positive elements in that, but there is a cost to that change, and there's a cost to the way our story wraps up, and it's not just in a neat little bow, and it does send the audience out on like sort of uneven footing, which I think the best theater always does. But it's surprised me how much I'm still able to find different things to play in Back to Before, and in these moments that we each have. Like it's so rich and so dense that City Center was sort of like, so fast and furious. And it's going to be really special to have this proper run at this exact moment in time to kind of explore all these questions again.
Yeah, it's fun when something like that's a song you thought you knew. I'm sure you're like, I know Back to Before, but great material. I guess you just keep finding more riches in it.
Yeah,
right?
and like the way it felt around the election last year is not the same way it's going to feel, when we start performances in a couple weeks. And that's what it's supposed to do. You know, it's supposed to evolve. You say those same words, but they mean something different. And like that is endlessly exciting as an actor to do.
Well, you all, I could tell you have great chemistry off stage, and I can't wait to see it on stage. And I'm so just thrilled to see the show, and I can't wait.
We can't wait either.
We can't wait to show it to you.